Welcome, boys and girls, guys and gals. It's your friend King Jiffy Coats, and today we have a really fun one for you. Now, back in the 90s, a game came out by a little unknown studio called Bungie. Now, we all know Bungie today from the Xbox Kingmaker Halo to Destiny and Destiny 2, which Destiny 2 is a whole other argument of what it's become. And recently they were purchased by Sony, and they announced they were going to bring back a game called Marathon. Now, if you don't know what Marathon is, this is the game that started Bungie as a studio, really put them on the map. It was a game released for Macs back in the day. It was an Apple exclusive, and if what I've researched online is true, for a long time, this game was lost to the ages. It was a forgotten about IP that it just kind of died off. And where it was inspired by System Shock and a lot of the build engine games of that time period, such as Duke Nukem and Duke Nukem, even Doom with the older id Tech games. It was really this innovative game that kind of got forgotten about because it took what everybody else was doing and then added to it, created deeper lore and stuff like that, which I'm not going to get too deep into the lore in this video because I'm very early on in this game. In fact, I always thought this was going to be a game I was going to have to wait to play until I eventually got a PC. I thought it was going to be something that I was never going to be able to touch until I got that machine that had the power of the gods, that pushed it into my beautiful monitor setup that would be godlike in the lands of mystery and imagination, where all the biggest boobies in the world sit right on my penis and I can have sex with them. You know what I mean? That imaginary land that I haven't quite achieved. I can't afford a PC, and it really isn't on console. So it's this weird Bungie game that I always wanted to play because I'm a Halo fanboy, and the people who created Halo created Marathon. Not the same people who created Destiny 2 created Halo. Keep that in mind. This was the original Bungie, the original crew, before the corporate bullshit and all of them left, and then now they're whatever they are and making terrible updates to a game that's beloved as Destiny, and now they're making a Marathon game that's a fucking extraction shooter when the original was a very story-based linear shooter, and that kind of pisses me off. And here I am sitting on the couch over in Hungary, wondering what I'm going to play on my phone because I'm kind of sick of not having service, and when I go places in a car or whatever, I want something to play on my phone. So I'm looking at some games. I'm thinking about maybe buying Max Payne, and I'm like, damn, bro, I bought this way back in the day on my old Apple account, which I can't remember, and I don't want to buy it again. And so I look up FPS games, and lo and behold, there's 3 games free. Yes, that's right. That's freaking right, dude. Free. And I haven't had any ads. It says in-game purchases, but I haven't seen any in-game purchases. So I got all 3 of the original Marathon games for free. And I jumped into the first one. Now, if you're wondering why I'm kind of rough with the controls, that's why. So I'm playing this shit on touchscreen. It's not pretty. It's not very fluid. I don't have the little backbone thing, and I don't even know if the backbone would work with these old Apple games. Let me know in the comments what you think. Does the backbone, does strapping on some extra equipment help? I know it does. It does in the bedroom. It makes me at least another 3 inches bigger. But what I found about this game is it's very similar to Doom in the aspect of you navigate a level that's kind of a maze. You figure out what switches to push. You push those switches, you find the exit route, and you move on. Now, things that I'd have to say that I'm not a fan of in this game, right, is, one, you cannot turn up the brightness, and there is some really dark areas in this game. This is the type of, there's some areas in this game you walk down a hallway and it's like walking to the back of a club, and then all of a sudden there's a bunch of enemies and you can't see them. And when I make the club comparison, these are the people in the GIMP outfits that are all of a sudden dragging you, and your nails are peeling on the concrete floors because you're about to get plowed in an orgy that you didn't know you were going to be a part of until you started this. And so that darkness kind of builds an atmosphere, but it also limits your ability to see, which is kind of necessary. So that's one issue. Another thing that kind of bothers me is the touch controls. It's so bad. It's so bad using touch controls. It's not the worst. I've definitely played worse. Been through worse. It's just I have to get used to the touch controls, and the further I played the game, the more used to it I got, and the more this seemed like an amazing game. One thing that I do think is really cool, like you can see me right here holding this rocket launcher, and it has 3 barrels, and it's kind of like my fanboyism for Halo kind of pops out here because I feel a lot of the identity of the older games or of this game into Halo. It just really has those Halo vibes, and I mean even the enemies. Like, these are the flying things. These are more like Halo. But, like, these guys right here. This is some Destiny 1 shit. Look at this guy. This is Destiny 1 shit. And if you're wondering why only one pistol's firing, I'm still trying to figure out the alt fire thing. And sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. So, I still need... There's some settings I can mess around with that. So, I'll figure that out in the end. And it's some of this stuff that's kind of weird. And the settings menu isn't very deep. And with touch controls, it's not like it's mapped to a button, so you can't just or mapped to a second trigger. So I'm still trying to figure that out. Again, this is, I'm very early on in this game. I think I'm on level 3, but man, is this a fun game. I am just having a blast, and the levels are super well made. Even though I get lost a lot because it is a maze of a game, the differentiations between the different levels is fantastic. And now I remember the thing that I said I wasn't a big fan of, another thing I wasn't a big fan of. So that last terminal you just saw me mess with, where I go inside. Those have great lore, they're interesting to read, they kind of tell you what you need to do in the mission. One problem is every time you walk too close to it, and this might just be a touchscreen problem, it fires it up like you hit use every single time. Same thing with the switches. You'll hit and unhit a bunch of switches on accident fucking cuz. It's super annoying, and it's one of the things that the more I play, the better I get used to not touching those buttons when I shouldn't touch those buttons. But yeah, dude, it's so sick that this game is on iPhones for free, and it's not being talked about. This game needs to be shouted from the rooftops. I mean, people get excited when they port old games to the Switch all the time. I mean, I'm one of those people. And with the boom of new retro shooters popping up every day, I mean, hell, Ion Fury is one of the sickest, most fun games. And I think this really sits up there with a game like Ion Fury, or even Duke Nukem and Shadow Warrior and what's the other one? It was Shadow Warrior, Duke Nukem, and what's Blood. I think this game really sits up there with it. It has a lot of this really cool identity of that 90s era shooter, but it also has this identity of Halo, and I think Halo is still one of the greatest shooters ever made. So the fact that you can play this and just see the identity of the future Bungie games is really cool. I mean, I might not be the biggest Destiny buff. I played it a couple times. It really kind of, it feels like the barrier to entry in that game is so huge, especially at this point because it's an MMO, that I always feel lost. But I'd always wanted to play Marathon because I heard that Halo gets a lot of its identity from Marathon. The Marathon, its ideas are what led to the greatness that was Halo. And so... And even Destiny, a lot of Destiny 1 that I played, I was like, oh, I can see what they were doing from Halo to this. And the fact that all 3 of their games now kind of lead up to it, only for them to shit on Marathon's, entire thing. I mean, that trailer for Marathon, it was just fucking insulting. I mean, it was basically, it was like a Red Dragon of a moment. I not like Red Dragon, the dude on Twitter who talks about fanboyism, but the sexual act of a Red Dragon. Now, if you don't know what a Red Dragon is, a Red Dragon is where you're you got a girl going down on you. She's just slurping and sucking, right? And then all of a sudden, right as you bloom, you power blast it out, right? You tickle her and punch her in the nose right then so that she laughs and blood and blum juice comes out of her nose. That is what a Red Dragon is. And that's kind of how I felt about the Marathon trailer and kind of what they're doing to this series. The fact that it was a great linear shooter, and then they're like, let's just make it a generic extraction shooter. And it's bro, come on. Come on, dude, you could have done something. Like, I'm cool if a game has an extraction shooter mode, right? I think that's cool. Do that. Like, Call of Duty, the last Call of Duty had the cool extraction shooter portion, but it also had a campaign, and it also had different multiplayer things. And I think Sony really, 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 really needs a arcade-style first-person shooter multiplayer. It also needs an FPS campaign. And it's like it's just kind of insulting to see what they did here. And another really, really innovative thing this game did, back to get on topic of this game, is you see that I pulled the drop down menu down, and a lot of games of this time period didn't run drop down menus like this, especially ones that could be interactive while you played. This felt like a really modern thing, and I don't know if it was in the original or just this remaster, but I think it was a cool addition, especially with how lost you can get in these older games. But that's all I got for you guys today. I haven't finished the game, so I think it's pretty fantastic so far. I'm having a blast. I'm planning on playing a little bit of each game and kind of giving you an update on how much I like them and what my initial impressions are. But for right now, this is going to be a game that is going to power my phone fun for a long time. And that's to say a lot, because phones are used for three things. One, Twitter, because Twitter's fun and you're going to make fun of fanboys. Two, texting and calling. And then three, music. That's all I've ever thought of my phone as being. I don't really do much else on my phone. I mean, sometimes I post videos on it. So yeah, phones are used for a lot of things, but for the majority of it, it's like, I don't think of playing games on my phone. It's never, I have a Switch, I have an Xbox, but now I have a game that's going to push me into playing on this platform. So thank you so much, guys, for enjoying and tolerating my voice. I hope you think that this looks pretty cool and download it on your own iPhone. I don't think it's on Android. I'm not sure. But check it out. If it is on Android or on the Google Play Store, download this game. It is worth it. It is fun. Catch you guys later on the next one. Bye.